Hi, friends and family. Hi, loved ones. Hi, lovers. Hi, fools. How you feeling today? How you doing? Well, I'm good. Yeah, I'm feeling good. It's a good day. Embracing the full, embracing all this fullness that I be and that I get to be, that I choose for me. All this love for all of me. So I've made some breakthroughs and just have like a little more to share today, like through the process of forgiveness and my willingness to receive, to let go, to allow the state of not to know, to be in the flow. Yeah, just to let go and just to be here now, to receive what's here right now. So it's been a dance and a play and a game. And it's been strange, but it's been magical as well. And yeah, it is a creative like state of being and like being here now. And so, yeah, the other day, like I got like some things about, yeah, it was just like a continuity of the stream that I was receiving in. And it was just like confirmations and affirmations and, yeah, continuations of that stream. And that's just like, wow, like we're creating this as we go, and like we're matching a frequency. And so we're drawing things to us. We're drawing ourselves towards something. Yeah. It's kind of fun, maybe both ways. But yeah, just have some funny things to share. And I went deeper into some things because they were initiated by just asking questions. And something was activated. And so there was like a thread to follow and certain clues and certain keys. So yeah, it just brought me back because it was like time to review. It's been yeah, I just like feel intuitively sometimes, okay, now like take everything that I learned in the last week or the last month or the the last cycle, and like, yeah, uh, bring everything in. And yeah, for structure and like integration and cooperation and harmonizing and synthesizing all those parts into a coherent whole. And yeah, it's just like one of those things that kind of happens naturally, but like with focus and attention and receptivity, and just a willingness to see and open to what I am receiving for my highest good growth and possibilities for in service to the whole. And so, yeah, I had asked myself some questions like March 31st. And I had been working with skunk medicine. And that's about like reputation and about energy and about um, knowing how to repel and attract. And honoring our energy, noticing and acknowledging like where we're directing it or maybe misdirecting it and leaking our energy, or where we have like energy drains, yeah, or leaks. And so I had asked myself, what do I get to reclaim? What do I get to reframe and integrate? What do I get to release? What do I get to surrender? What do I get to forgive? What do I get to transform, transfiguring? What fears and desires deplete or drain me? What is a better choice or focus for my energy? Can I love and accept me fully as I am? Am I over-identifying with my fears, feelings, thoughts, needs, and desires, agendas, programming, and roles I play? The false image or fixed identity? Where do I feel most vulnerable? What is the source of the disturbance or the dis-ease or the imbalance or the lower ego distortion? Where is that coming from? And so, where what is asking for transmutation and healing? So I thought that was kind of, yeah, good questions to ask myself. And then, yeah, just being able to express certain things and then to go into that descansos exercise and writing out like some of those events during my life or throughout my life where I've experienced trauma and that pain, rejection, and betrayal and abandonment. And those stories of I am not enough and we are not enough or there is not enough. And yeah, that old story, that false belief of I am unworthy. Please show me that I'm worthy, or needing that external validation from someone else or from outside of myself. And that's what always tripped me up. Yeah, in so many ways. Like, and that was like one of my ego survival strategies. Like, because I couldn't see that I was enough. I couldn't feel that I was enough. I didn't believe that I was enough. So I'd always want someone else to show me, like, I am worthy and I am enough. So that's, yeah, just some of the things that I got to look at this week. And in a little more, yeah, in more deep ways, a little more deeply. So I shared some of these fears last time that I had realized, like, oh, okay, these fears are coming up right now and they're just coming up to be transmuted. And so it's like nothing that I need to fix or anything, but I just get to pay attention and to see what love is asking me. And enough is enough, dissolving the old parasitic, narcissist, codependent dynamics, the wounded child, the wounded parent relationships, deceptive, destructive, confusing, manipulative, passive-aggressive, unconscious agreements and strategies. The bargain without knowing, ignorance, foolishness, and stupidity. Going against oneself for security, comfort, and belonging. Operating unconsciously, lost in samsara and self-made suffering, perpetuating the dark controller's artificial light programming. And so, yeah, I just, after like realizing that, like, I'm not going to play this game anymore. Like, I'm just tired of this game. Fuck this game. Like, I'm playing my own games. I'm going to play my games that feel better for me and that, like, are more aligned with who I am and who I get to be, who I want to be, who I choose to be. I choose, yeah. It's up to me to choose and act and decide, yeah, who I want to be. I choose what I want to become. I choose that love for me. I don't need someone else to tell me who I am or show me I'm enough. Like, I get to be responsible for that and know that I'm enough. Yeah. So I'm not going to be silenced, scapegoated, blamed, and shamed. Yeah, I'm not playing along in this victim blame game. I'm not going to take this BS anymore. I'm not playing your poverty game of we are not enough. Yeah, so, yeah, seeing that too, like, where I also wanted other people to be different or to be what I thought they could be. Yeah, because I always do see, like, the best in people, and then, yeah, some of my frustrations and resentments, yeah, were around that not being enough, or that I'm not enough for you, or you're not enough for me, or there's not enough, like, in certain ways. It's all bullshit. So I'm not playing your poverty game to prove that I am worthy, valued, or smart enough to play. And there's where the stupid comes in too. Like, where, I don't know, I've never really felt like stupid. Like, I know I have my own intelligence and I have different ways, yeah, of expressing that and embodying that intelligence. And yeah, I've never really felt like I wasn't, yeah, smart enough or anything. But yeah, it was always about being good enough or valued or worthy. But like, yeah, maybe I have like put extra emphasis or over identified, like, yeah, because my mind is so like busy and love stimulation, and I love analyzing, and I love organizing things, and I love like just contemplating, thinking, dissecting things, like really looking deeply into things. And like, not everybody does that. Not everybody's like that. And it's kind of funny too, because yeah, I've been reviewing the 4 agreements, and yes, it's time to practice and renew some agreements. And there was, yeah, something that relates in there about not taking things personally, and also like not making assumptions, but I'll probably go over that in a few minutes. Yeah, because it does relate in certain ways. So, like the agreements that I make, yeah, with myself and in my relationships, I now agree, yeah, that they're true for me. I won't agree to anything that's not true for me. Yeah. So, I don't need your validity or your validation, your stamp of approval, or your permission to be me. I don't need your bullshit. No, thank you. I'll choose to honor, love, respect, care for, and value me and we. Through my own ways of being, I am free to be. I claim my voice, my currency, and my awakened human being. And so some of the fears like that were coming up to be transmuted or to be released or to be transformed, transfigured. So I noticed like the compulsions and obsession to manage perceptions and the ways I am received, like so that I could be received how I wanted to be. So it was like false ego control, pride, impatience, and vanity. Fear of not belonging, fear of exile, fear of going against myself, fear of losing myself, fear of betraying myself, a fear of harming myself, a fear of being myself, a fear of being seen and rejected, a fear of being destroyed, a fear of wasting my life, a fear of not being enough, a fear of being judged, blamed, scapegoated, being unloved, seen as unclean, unworthy, unacceptable, foolish. Yeah, just that humiliation. Fear of being seen as disgusting, subhuman, untouchable, and dangerous. A fear of losing control, a fear of harm, violence, and sabotage, a fear of pain, and a fear of being burned at the stake. Yeah. Sabotage and violence. Yeah. Being the scapegoat. And that's why I was like, no, I'm not going to play the scapegoat for you anymore. I've played that enough. No, thank you. No more. I'm not doing that. So a bad B movie with weak-ass plots and subplots playing out on the outer stage, flimsy crisis actors and garish masks and psycho personalities, the degeneration, subhumanization, dehumanization, false power grabs, and unconscious self-deceit, dangerous fear programs activating psychic trauma wounds, and disempowering story loops of the emotional pain prison, the traumatized psyche, the body of pain. Weak egos and compromised, infiltrated, hijacked, poisoned minds. It's pretty painful to see on or from the outside. The other side? The extremely polarized? The ones who are losing their minds and their power to discern freely and decide. To discern. Yeah. And decide. And so that was yesterday morning. Yeah, just how I was feeling. Like, man, just like I can just watch this play out and not get attached to the outcome or what I think it is or how it appears on the surface of things and all of that. And so, yeah, just looking at some of those things because it all does relate. Like, where do I go from here? So changing my mind one day at a time, letting go of attachments to rewire my mind, relax and unwind, loosen these ties to the binds of the mind. Be here, it's all fine, all is divine, all is aligned, in divine order and divine time. I am thine. Good. God consciousness in human form, a divine expression of her love and his light, unfolding through space and time. Playing in the field of creativity, magic, and miracles, accessible, available all around, within, and all around me. All I am, a part of me, connected, reflected through everything. All God's good things, all my blessings and gifts, opportunities, all these wonders alive and being honored, shared, lived, witnessed, embodied, acknowledged, and received. Prosperity, fullness, riches, wealth, abundance, gratitude, wellness, health, and ease. Honoring all resources, gifts, aspects, energies. Healing is to make whole. Love yourself, you big ol' fool. It has always been you. You seeking you against you versus you, your love for you. Seeing into some of the old inherited beliefs and patterns of trying to see myself or measure my value, my worth, my rightness from another's eyes or another's view. Yeah. Another viewpoint or an artificial lie, a false lens or an ego disguise. Wanting to see myself as I might appear through the light of other people's eyes. To check, critique, or improve or validate myself or justify my life, justify my choice, justify my right, just validate my life, prove that I am worthy, prove that I'm enough, prove that I am loved, prove my love is enough, that I am on the right track, to prove that I am right and I am worthy of belonging, correct, worthy of being loved, worthy, seen, supported, included, and being, enough. So it looks like the idealist, the perfectionist, the judge, the martyr, the miser, the victim, the nitpicker, the detective that wants to figure it all out and like hunt and track down. So it's like also the hunter. Like the people pleaser, the whore, the caregiver, the preacher, and the wounded child. Like through all those like distorted lenses. That's how I was seeing myself. And that's why like always seeking love, validation, confirmation, that I am enough, like from outside of myself. And so like working with trust this week and realizing that when I was doing my little practice of descansos and seeing like where some of those things played out, like I was aware of some of those, but it really did like help remind me, to trust myself. And it showed me in certain ways where I chose not to trust myself and defer to like trusted authority or authority figures, or to mom and dad, or like, those community leaders or whatnot. And so contemplating trust, validation, and my survival ego needs to be valued, affirmed, encouraged, seen, approved of, legitimized, and received. So shutting down my own abilities to feel, hear, see, and receive me. Receive like my inner knowing and the ways that I could see. I minimized that and I hid it away because it didn't match up with what other people were saying. So it was misplaced trust and learned distorted ways of receiving me conditionally, inverted ways of operating. It either had to do with take or fake, or there is not enough. Because of these unworthy and not enough stories, which said there is not enough for me, or I am unworthy to receive, or they need me, or I need them to see me, please validate me, please tell me or help me or show me who I am, because I didn't know, and I couldn't see. So I wanted to see that through the light of someone else's eyes. And so what happened, I'm still processing, but there was like this superimposed lens that was placed over my third eye. And as I'm observing like certain things and watching different stories and witnessing, like calling in the neutral witness or the compassionate witness or just the observer, just to see like what's coming in my into my awareness and what's playing out through my imagination or old memory or that wound, that injury. Yeah, could start to see how I would shift into this other lens to look at me in a different light or to see me to prove that I was all right. And it was just, yeah, it's like one of those things where it was like this weird overlord. Almost, yeah, it was a judge's lens for sure, but I couldn't discern that in a way. Yeah, maybe I'll be able to articulate it in another way. But yeah, we'll see what wants to be shared and expressed. So yeah, I have been able to like watch myself like experiencing something, but then there's like another part of me that wants to make sure it's right and check that there's no flaws in it, or that like, yeah, because logic always wants to argue with itself and it goes around and around and around in story loops. And like that's part of the like the dual or the polar yeah, nature, like because there's one side and then there's another side. But they're both part of the same whole. It's just kind of funny, like, yeah. What wants to be expressed about this? So yeah, it was just a way like to see if there was any like holes or like any way that certain things or like my experience could be misconstrued, or if it felt solid or if it felt tight, you know, like I felt right, like just to confirm that or to validate that or to prove to myself that it was right or that I was right or that what I was experiencing was right, or how would other people see it if they saw me experiencing it, or yeah. And it was just a weird thing, like a weird obsessive check of some kind, like, yeah. And I'm still watching it and unraveling, like, yeah, I'm willing to see more of really what kind of mechanism, control mechanism, yeah, that was about or that was for. Like, obviously, it was to keep me small or to keep me, like, reinforcing that need to be seen as right by others or through others' eyes. Yeah, so it was weird in a certain way. So, what I wrote down here was, yeah, I'm willing to please you so I can be pleased or be seen as pleasing. Or if I can be seen, yeah, I wanted to be seen as enough, worthy of belonging, worthy of being loved, being seen, being included, being right to be and taken seriously. Yeah. And believed. Yeah, because a lot of the things, like I noticed when I was doing my Descanso's exercise, was that there were many times in my early childhood where I brought legitimate fears and concerns and desires forward, but they were minimized because it was like you need to go along with these programs. You need to go to school when it's time to go to school. Like it doesn't, you know, like you need to do this when it's time to do this, or when we say it's right to do this, or when, yeah. And it's just like rigid structures of control that like didn't even have any rhyme or reason, or just like that's the way we do things, and that's just the way that it is, and it's like, and that's like just being practical or whatever. But really it was just another form of control, like to keep us from ourselves, or and to, yeah, put layers of false image, like over our real self. And so it was just, yeah, kind of interesting that way to look at. So, yeah, just a couple of things, like from when I was a kid, like where I'd have certain nightmares when I was younger, and they were very, very, very vivid in detail and in feeling, and the visions of them like were more real than like life seemed to be, and they were very, very disturbing and very scary to me. And it was like dreams of a past life, and there was so many details about different clothing from a certain era and stuff that my child mind at age 6 wouldn't have concocted, like and yeah, and I'd wake up screaming from these nightmares, and then told, oh, it was just a dream, it wasn't real, when it was real to me. It was real to me. And so it was just like those kinds of things being brushed off or being minimized, or yeah, not being validated in certain ways. Like, yeah, it's sort of created like, okay, I can't trust my own mind, and I can't trust my own feelings, and those sort of things. And that's just like one part of it, because there were other things as well, like where I could see certain things in my waking life as well. Yeah. And those things were also minimized, or I was told I was wrong, it was something else. And so then I began to doubt myself. So yeah, it was all about like not trusting myself and always doubting myself. And so maybe that's what it is. Like that's like the self-doubter program, or the, yeah. Yeah, I want to look more into that, like see more into that. That is interesting to see. So, and being burned at the stake. Yeah. Being burned at the stake and being, yeah, targeted for being different. Yeah. So that was like one of my payoffs in playing small and forgetting myself. Yeah. To keep myself safe. Yeah. And to please others, and to do it right, and to belong. Yeah. So, yeah, I have a lot of, yeah, those things in those episodes where there was a lot of weird things, especially in my teenage years, that would happen around me. Lots of paranormal things, and now they totally make sense to me, and like where they didn't back then, because I didn't have anything to compare it to, or any, yeah, enough, I guess, experience to understand it for myself. Yeah. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting, like looking back and looking through those events and those things, and doing a lot of unlearning. Yeah. So there was something, yeah, that was just there, that was just emerging, and maybe it'll come back. So yeah, so I'm not playing the scapegoat anymore. I'm done projecting that, and I'm projecting like, yeah, something else now. I'm gonna project my fullness and my rightness and my completeness, my healed self. I'm projecting my healed self now. Yeah. Because I have earned that. And so it is. So, transforming the not enough lack stories, transforming the original wound, betrayal, like going against myself. Healing victim consciousness through transforming the false core belief system that there is not enough, or we are not enough. The psychic wound, that there is not enough for me and we. Healing the victim consciousness, the poverty lack, through forgiveness and reclaiming our power and responsibility, our fullness and prosperity. So yeah, just letting myself off the hook now, where I don't need to prove myself. I don't need to convince anyone. I don't need to save anyone. I don't need to change anyone or sacrifice myself to prove my love to or for anyone or anything. I release and dissolve these old agreements and these false beliefs and programs, stories, myths, and lies. I offer them back with love. Thank you, stories, for teaching me how to claim and know me, how to honor my life, how to honor my true worth. I can choose, yeah, my divine right to my life. I ask for more clarity, insight, and understanding, and humbly surrender to free myself right now. Thank you for the healing. It is done, it is done, it is done. I release my old attachments to false humility, pride, and control, to external validation, vanity, and this never enough lower ego, monkey mind, parasitic drive. So, yeah, enough is enough, dissolving the old parasitic, narcissistic, codependent dynamics of control. Yeah. That keep us from ourselves. Keep us, yeah, from our fullness and from remembering and embodying and being who we are, becoming all we are. So what else can I say about that? Yeah, the healing and the healing mantras that came up, Rama, 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 Rama. And actually, yeah, that Rama and Rar was all coming up in the last 2 weeks or so. And it's pretty awesome because it happened in different ways. Like, yeah. And so that definitely was a gift for me to receive. Like, yeah, to chant that Rama, 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 and balancing the solar and the lunar, the two poles, yeah, within me. Yeah. And yeah, so that was like really, really cool to see all of that. And in my video where I read about Leo from Mythic Astrology, and I had been like getting things about Sekhmet and that energy and that protector energy, and like, yeah, that goddess of wrath and justice and like pestilence and destructive force, or yeah, just freaking what can happen when divine will and like isn't honored and respected, like the consequences of that in certain ways, like the destruction that can come from that. And yeah, the Eye of Ra, like Sekhmet's known as the Eye of Ra. And yeah, it's just interesting, like just all of these raw things. But I had like some different boards out to talk about like the sun and things, and I noticed, yeah, there was something that I want to share about the sun, the qualities of the sun, some of the symbolic meanings: life, power, strength, energy, force, clarity, and self. In Christianity, the sun is the house of Archangel Michael, and it's also a symbol of the Christ or Christ-like attributes. In Egyptian symbolism, the sun is associated with Horus, Ra, and Osiris. Horus represents the rising sun, Osiris the setting sun, and Ra represents the sun's zenith, or the sun right overhead. Over the head, at the peak, you know. So traditions from Celtic, African, Japanese, Germanic, and some Native American tribes all hold the sun as feminine energy. And yeah, so it's interesting how in certain traditions it's seen as a masculine energy, but then in other traditions it's seen as a feminine energy. But yeah, it's just part of the same thing. And some of the dreams that I was having as well, like this week, it was yeah, it would favor like slightly one side over the other, and that was kind of interesting, where it would be interchangeable as well. So just looking at those things, like there was a dream that I had, and this adversary that was stalking me, And it doesn't make sense to like my rational mind in certain ways, but like to my symbolic mind and my artist's mind, it does make sense in a lot of ways, where it's just like the language, yeah, of that soul penetrating yeah, through to show me like what this is, instead of like just relying on a description. It's just like directly receiving like what the qualities are, or what the energy is that's asking for integration, if that makes any sense. And so let's see where I go from that. So what new actions can be made, chosen, and received through being me today? What wants to be allowed, expressed, recognized, directed, created, played with, worked through, developed, and appreciated? Honored and integrated, released, transformed, loved, transmuted, blessed, and thanked. And I was like thinking about my resistance the other day to certain things, and like how I get in my own way and how I can trip myself up and sabotage myself and fool myself. Yeah. Before I even get started. Sometimes, yeah. So that's been a challenge for me sometimes, to just initiate certain things or just to get started. And then once I do, like, it's just like, wow, why did I think this is going to be so hard? So getting in my own way because of what I think is required of me, but really it's just showing up and taking a step, or moving, being willing to move forward. Yeah, and that's really like all it is. So it's like, that's, you know, like the effortless actions, it does like take effort to show up, but it doesn't have to be back-breaking work. But I am willing to work. And so, yeah, from that story that I shared from the first stage, the bargain without knowing, yeah, it is like that bargain that we make because we want it to be easy, or we just want to be comfortable in certain ways, maybe taken care of. And yeah, just to feel safe too, like that's not a bad thing. But yeah, the chopping of the wood, yeah. Chop wood, carry water. Chop wood, carry water. But the father in the story, yeah, was chopping tree for firewood, and then he's approached by the devil, who, yeah, has a pretty good deal for him, it seems. But yeah, once he goes beyond the surface of things, he realizes it's not a bargain. Yeah, that was going to make things easy. Like, there's a much, much higher price to be paid. And so, like, yeah, sometimes it's funny, like, the work that we actually do end up doing, or the energy that we actually spend sometimes, like, avoiding the work or avoiding the discomfort, it's, like, way more taxing on us than actually, like, just showing up and surrendering and, like, yeah, doing our own work. Like, for instance, taking care of ourselves or taking care of our own health. We think it's going to be so hard, and we are not able to do it. So we defer it to authority, or we give our power to someone else who knows better, someone else who we trust, like, because we don't trust ourselves. And so, yeah, the misplaced trust and distorted ways of receiving, yeah, and giving our power away. And so, like, yeah, that's part of our responsibility. And when we don't use our hands, like, to grasp certain psychic things, like, they wither. And yeah, and then we're more dependent on others for their goodwill. Sometimes that doesn't always work out for us. Sometimes it does, you know. There are so many people, loving people out there, who do have good intentions and good hearts and want to help and do serve and do bless humanity and bless others in just so many beautiful ways. But yeah, there's just not everybody's like that. And sometimes it causes us a lot of pain for us, yeah, to see that and to wake up to that and to see where we have, kind of created pain for ourselves through that misplaced trust, or going against ourselves in certain ways. But So yeah, that did fit for me, like in the first stage of the bargain without knowing, where yeah, we give our juiciness away, like, because it makes us feel good to give to people and to share with others and to care for others. But then, yeah, we're draining ourselves or saying no to ourselves when we're saying yes to everyone else. And yeah, we're not paying attention to how we're being drained or siphoned or consumed. Yeah, through not honoring our own needs or our own feelings and our own worth, like not even knowing our own worth or our own value. Yeah. And that's what it's, yeah, a lot of it's been about is like realizing our own value and our own worth and our own gifts that we've been given, and our intelligence, our own intelligence, and like this irrational intelligence that we've been taught not to trust because, yeah, it doesn't match up sometimes with the descriptions or what with what everybody else sees. So that's kind of interesting too. And so yeah, the vampirish friends, inviting over the vampirish friends to have a group siphon and those kinds of things, I can relate to that. And but it was like while it's in motion or while we're participating in those kinds of dynamics, it's really, really, really hard to see like what is really happening. And we are like in a sense in denial of what is happening, even though there's part of us that knows like how we're being fed on, or how we're dishonoring ourselves, or how we're betraying ourselves, or rejecting certain parts or messages from ourselves. Yeah. And so what I like, some of the ways I betrayed myself, like I would make excuses for the other person, like give them the benefit of the doubt, and and dismiss and minimize like my own feelings, like making up stories like about why I needed to, and like yeah, just justifying sob stories and reinforcing victim consciousness and that trauma bonding, because like that's how we were taught to connect in certain ways, was through that trauma, you know, and the powerlessness and the helplessness. So I would let things slide, or I would minimize my own feelings, needs, and desires to make it feel all right. You know, I had poor boundaries. I'd let everyone inside, everyone who needed something or wanted something. Like, yeah, I didn't know how to say no, or or like to protect myself. Um, yeah, from those overbearing, pushy uh, vampires. And some of those vampires didn't even know they were vampires. That's just how they got their needs met. And so of course, like that's a good strategy that got their needs met, so why should they change that, you know, like until they actually see sometimes like how it comes into their own lives, and then it repeats, yeah, in certain ways, like yeah, where they're getting fed off of and then they need to feed off someone else, or yeah, it's just interesting how it's perpetuated. But, so letting everyone inside and giving them or selling them a piece of me or my life force energy to keep them in my life. As it was like, don't leave me. Like, please be here and please love me, you know? Please love me and receive me, and please see me and tell me I am worthy, good, and right to be. Please show me I'm enough as me. Yeah. So shutting down my own abilities to feel, hear, see, and receive, like deferring to that external validation or that external trusted authority. Yeah. And so it's just like just unlearning like certain things, and like seeing how those patterns like do become like our default settings, and it's just like automatic reflex or reactive. Yeah, until we actually see and we can respond to take other actions and show up for ourselves, start to trust what we're seeing, receiving, feeling. And it's good to have healthy skepticism, because don't believe everything you think. But like, yeah, there are certain things that we can like receive like through clarity, like without like that distortion of the ego, like being attached to the story, being attached to the identity, being attached to the feeling, being attached to the appearance. um, yeah, or the need, like any of those needs. And so yeah, suspension and surrender and receptivity and asking to be, yeah, shown, and letting it be, and then making the room to receive like new awareness and new understanding. Feeling the shifts deepening, integrating, transforming, and transfiguring reality, energy, beliefs every day. Purification, liberation, and cleansing all that no longer resonates in harmony with me, we, she, and thee, God's will, and our divine right to be fully free. Our love unto ourselves, so be. So the actions, what new actions can we take? Yeah, and that actually goes along with a storyboard that I made a couple weeks ago. I think it's maybe been more than a month now. But there was, yeah, some kind of message there for me, all sorts of messages for me that said, yeah, if you can't, it was something like, in order to change or to make a change, an action has to be taken. If an action hasn't been taken, then you have not truly decided yet. Like, and that's part of like choosing. Like, part of it is just like being willing to say, okay, I'm going to choose this for myself. And that's like calling it in, and that's like bringing it into our field, saying, I choose this. And then when it does come up, or there's that opportunity to take, are we going to take that action? Yeah. And receive that gift. So yeah, it's been about that, like with badger medicine helping me to act, to care for myself. And that was the other board, like the other board that had that message on there for me. Sometimes you just need to let go of others, not because you don't care, but because they don't. And yeah, and it's not about like comparison of, and like the measuring stick or anything like that, of like, you didn't please me, so I'm not going to please you or anything. It's more about like, well, it's my job to take care of me right now, and to express that care for me, and to show that care for me. And so I need to direct my energy in more honoring ways, so that I can show up like and take that action to express that care for me, and like extending that invitation for the other to do the same. Like, take care of their well-being, take care of their needs. Like, yeah, letting go of what's not mine, like what's not my responsibility. Like, I still want to serve, and I still want to give, and I still want to share, but I'm just, the codependent narcissist dynamic just no longer works for me. It no longer fits, and it no longer serves, it no longer resonates. I can no longer play in that, or play at that, without doing myself a disservice or dishonoring me. And so it's been like kind of hard, like to shift out of, or let go of, or just like kind of separate myself, or and remove myself from, yeah, several of my relationships, and just because like I needed to come back to myself, to my own center, and sort the stuff out through myself. Yeah. And so always, kind of like feeling guilty in certain ways. Like, some of me does feel guilty about abandonment, or about like saying goodbye or leaving or whatever, but like, it's just like, I know it's right, and I know that's love, and it's honoring, and it serves like the fullness of, yeah, who I am, and who I want to be, and who I get to be, and who I choose to be. and serves the other. Like, because if I'm going against myself, how does that serve the other, really? If it's not serving me, I would say that it's, yeah, dishonoring me and dishonoring the other. And it's not authenticity. It's just comfort zone and like that comfortable, miserable way of being, because we know it, it's familiar. It's not really comfortable, but we're comfortable because it's the monster we know. And it's just like that Stockholm syndrome as well, is playing out. And so, yeah. What other, yeah, things? So, oh yeah, just like kind of looking at some things, or just like having some things come in and just witnessing and seeing them, receiving them, or just being aware of what's in my psychic space. And like, yeah, just kind of looking at some of those things where I was like thinking about how I couldn't allow myself to go against myself, or I couldn't like force myself to keep pushing certain boulders up certain hills, like where it just like had a bad taste in my mouth, and I'm just like, nope, this isn't for me, this isn't working for me. And it was easy, like to drop like a bad habit, like certain relationships, like I would stay in them for a long time until it got so bad that I was just like, okay, I'm out, and I could just drop it like as soon as I was decided to step out of it. But I always would hang on and cling on to it until I realized, okay, like this is killing my soul, or like I'm unable to go on. There's just no way I have any more energy for this at all. And so, like, just looking at some of those things, like some certain relationships that I've had, and they really did teach me a lot. And this last year, I knew that I didn't have to do that, like, wait till it got really, 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 really bad in order for me to just say, okay, I'm stepping back now and I'm removing myself. And yeah, so, or like, I'm taking this action to care for myself. Like, I can do that. I can give myself permission, like, to show up and allow that for myself. And not making excuses, and yeah, for myself or for the other, and just saying, yep, this is what it is and this is what's being asked of me. And there were like several messages of like, yeah, if you love them, let them go. Yeah. And if you love yourself, let yourself like be free, like free yourself and honor yourself and your integrity and your own needs. Your loyalty is to yourself. And yeah, to what you choose to be, and yeah, all of that. So that really did help me, like, have the endurance, yeah, not to cave in and all of that. So, and just to trust and let go, like, and feeling like the trust, yeah, has really, really, really helped me so much in this last month or so, like really, really actively practicing like that trust. So it's been so super helpful. So I was thinking about my resistance to playing along with this inverted anti-life system and all the ways in which I just couldn't force myself to go along, to get along, to chase the elusive carrot on the floating stick. Always, always just an inch away, but never, like never, never in reach. Really. But yeah, so I just really am an unconventional person, even though I do like a lot of the traditions. I don't like conformity, and I mean, there are different ways that I have conformed in different ways, but it's been like a good challenge for me, and like to like embody that rebel archetype. And like I'm super grateful like that I've been able to experience that, and that I have like been able to protect myself in different ways, like through calling on that rebel, to protect me. And that rebel was like my guard where I could assert my own identity. But I also realized in certain ways, like how I made myself the outsider, because that's how I felt, or that's how I saw myself. It's like, well, that's not me. I must be weird. I must be different. I must be wrong. Like, and then just like, yeah, choosing to be the black sheep, or just because like maybe that was familiar to me, comfortable for me maybe to play the black sheep. Yeah, but now it's like, I don't know, it doesn't bother me as much anymore. But being on the outside, always looking in, like always felt so alone. And yeah, and I can see where like I chose to compromise myself, like so I could fit in somewhere, and I could please and be pleased. Yeah, and be comfortable. So I just couldn't force myself. Yeah. So at a young age, and this is like all kind of, yeah, around the same time too, like where I left the church, the Mormon church, when I was age 15, and it had felt like really, really, really crappy to me. Like it was killing my soul, and I just couldn't force myself to do it. Like I'd fight back and forth with my mom about it, or I didn't want to be forced, and I was, yeah, the rigid control, like just like there was something in my soul that wouldn't, like, wasn't gonna go for that, and just I couldn't allow that. And so, yeah, I've learned a lot. I definitely learned a lot in being in that experience, or experiencing that, like throughout different phases and stages of my life, where it was like beautiful, in at certain times, and very terrible at other times. Like very awful and terrible at other times, and then amazing and beautiful at other times. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, so I had that experience of like leaving those core belief systems of the Mormon Church, and of that faith, and like looking into other things, because I was so curious and interested in other things for as long as I could remember, like different symbols, um, and I just knew like it was all about the circle, and it was all about everything. And so I was just like, yeah, coexist and be friends, and just live and let live, and all of that. Like that was my philosophy. Like it's all good. In those ways, like I didn't want like one true church, or one true way, or there's only one way of being, because I knew that was false. And so also I left school, that rigid control, structured, social, pathological conditioning system, in like the beginning of 11th grade. I just could not take it anymore. And yeah, I was done with that, like conventional schooling, like in the public school. Like I was just like, I don't care like what I do. I'll go to night school. I'll take a GED. I'll go like to another school, like another alternative school, but I'm not like doing that anymore. Like just not. Like it made me so sick. Yeah, I couldn't do it. And also that's what happened in the work outside the home. I didn't stick around and stay in that for very long either. And so I've always been able to like avoid a lot of the I guess social pressure and programming, and like what everybody else is doing, and so I could go my own way and do my own thing, and like what felt right for me, what was in harmony with me, or what felt good and right and true or better for me. Like, and so I did work outside the home for um yeah, my first, let's see, maybe like 7 years of working. Like I started at age 15, and a lot of those years were in healthcare, or caregiving. And so I worked in several nursing homes and rehab centers, and also a children's hospital. And I really loved my experiences and serving others and helping others and learning and all of that. But there are certain things that I just didn't like about it, and I felt like I was in high school again, or it felt like a knitting circle, like where everybody just gossiped, and it was like just I would go avoid that, or I would bring a book so I didn't have to listen to it or engage in it, because I've always like been turned off by that. And like and so I always felt like the outsider because I wasn't like playing into that and like yeah, getting highs or jollies from yeah, talking down about other people and or trading yes, salacious stories and whatnot. Like yeah, it just so yeah, one of my last jobs that like just got to the point where nope, I can't take this anymore. I'm not doing it. Like because it was kind of in a lot of ways like it was at the hospital and it was like it almost felt like all these Stepford wives and their knitting circles and their like comparison competition like toxic feminine mindsets and mentalities and whatever wounded feminine. But like yeah, that's why I always avoided like women a lot or girls sometimes like because I didn't like the cattiness and I didn't like that small-mindedness or and that viciousness, man. And learned a lot of like passive aggressive strategies, of course, through like family and yeah, and friendships and those things. So yeah, that was interesting. But like, yeah, I'd rather be alone really than be miserable and unhappy and be like with something that insults my soul. And so I have had to break away from those kinds of things a lot, like to protect myself. And so I can see like how that helped me, like, like have a backbone right now, like, and stand for what I know, you know, to be true or to be true for me. And that's honoring of me and my energy, yeah, and who I get to be. So, yeah, after I quit the hospital, I worked for a family for 10 years and didn't have to like deal with like the corporate work structure or like all of that silliness, like the social bull crap, like the office politics, and like the personality conflicts or like the hierarchy, you know, kind of thing. I got to avoid a lot of that like nonsense. So I'm lucky in a lot of ways, like where but it's just something I got to choose for me because I knew it didn't work for me, like in a lot of ways. So I am grateful for those experiences and those opportunities, and for I'm proud of myself for like actually not abandoning myself when it came to like those things. And but yeah, I needed to like figure or see it in other ways, like um, and in other relationships, like those same patterns and those same dynamics at play, like so it's kind of interesting. I don't know if any of that makes sense at all, but just kind of thinking out loud in certain ways, connecting certain dots. But so I left the corporate structure or the work outside the home because it felt so yucky and misaligned for me. It did not support my creative being and my gifts of sensitivity. So painful to go against myself, so I chose to be the outsider, the one always looking in from without. And now I've turned that around, looking out from within to see more clearly all this love that I am. Yeah, all this love for me. And so yeah, is there anything else that wants to be shared? Oh yeah, there was lots of magical things coming in and synchronicities, things that I had been working with and playing with, and then just like after like getting a video or having a conversation with a friend or um, picking up a book and then it's right there, like it's said in the same like it's like the same message but said in slightly different ways, or yeah, but it's on the same wave. And so it's just like really cool to see those things. And yeah, I'll just share like a couple things that were coming through yesterday and the day before. So it's been raining and it's like seeing earthworms like out on the ground and coming up from the ground to the surface. And so it's like earthworms and rain, replenishment, soil and new life, new seeds and dreams, new stories, new beginnings, new ways, new days. Love always, love always, love always. Aurora, New dawning of this new age, this new stage, this new wave, this new play, love always. Dark to light, thank you, rain. April showers and heart flowers, for in through love always. And then some of the archetypes that were coming up were Mot and Hathor and Mary, Magdalene and Mother Mary, Isis, Durga, Kali, Sekhmet, Nephthys, Osiris, Set, and Horus, Jesus, Yeshua, Christ consciousness, Christosophia, Hokmah, wisdom of the divine, heart, mind, awakened hearts blossoming into, all we are. Apple orchards of the underground forest, the psychic mountains, the sea of unconsciousness, the sea of consciousness, the ocean of samsara, the boatman and the ferry to help us bridge and link through the other side, the mother arc, the 0 point, the center of the axis mundi, the devotees, the faithful and the childlike, alive and on wonder, the enchantment of our lives, the transcendence deep inside, reminding, surrendering, remembering, it's about damn time. Yeah. Presence, reception, surrender, let go. It's all love for you. It's up to you to choose, act, and decide. Write your own story and write your own life. Write your own way and write your own world through your own true ways. Love always, love always. Love will remember, just wake up and play. Fucking A, well, okay, all is well and I'm okay. It's a play, it's a song, it's a dance, it's a stage, it's a game to grow and discover that love is always. Not just one way. The ego likes to think it's the one way. And that was like one of the things too that came back to me was the one quote that I had written down a couple weeks ago about like one of the major causes of frustration about being with others is that we want them to think and act in a certain way, and most often like how we think and act. And when they don't, then we're disappointed. So interactions with people are the major source of emotional turmoil, but it doesn't have to be that way. The problem is that we are continually judging people, wishing they were something that they are not. We want them to think and act a certain way, most often the way that we think and act, and because this is not possible, because everyone is different, we are continually frustrated and upset. Instead, see other people as phenomena, as neutral as comets or plants. They simply exist. Work with what they give you instead of resisting and trying to change them. Make understanding people a fun game, the solving of puzzles. It's all a part of the human comedy. Robert Greene, The Laws of Human Nature. And then keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that, but they're really great, make you feel that you too can become great. And so that is awesome, like just to remember that. And it's a good reminder, like, oh yeah, like I don't need to be upset with them for being who they are, or for being where they're at, or for playing at being what they're at, or who they are. And so it was just like letting go of that resistance, like, okay, this is who they choose to be right now, and this is who this is who they get to be, or this is the part they're playing right now, and they don't have to do it in my space, or I can remove myself from the situation, or I can set boundaries, and all those things. They just get to choose for themselves, how to show up and care, or, be for themselves. And so, it's kind of awesome. So that frees up a lot of energy. A declaration. And so, that's what I was like, okay, I'm going to claim my roots. I'm going to claim my wings, my roots, and my crown. I claim that for me. And I claim my fullness. And all I am for me. And so, and I also, like, here's what I'm not going to do anymore. I'm not playing this game anymore. I'm not giving my energy to it anymore. Like, and I don't need to prove, like, who I am anymore. Like, I don't need to manage people's perceptions either. Or the way that they receive me. So that frees up a ton of energy as well. And so, like, it's more about, like, my power and responsibility and, like, my independence and my right to be. And, like, this cooperation in a relationship is different, like, than compromising myself. And so A declaration of independence, claiming our divine sovereignty, divine intervention, miracles, transformation, transmutation, synthesis, and harmony. Supernova, souls, aurora, awakening, new light, love, life, codes activating, new growth, possibilities. And initiating. Yeah. Renewed access to our creative energy, honoring our resources, our worthiness, our legit right to be full and free, affirming, confirming, receiving love and learning, remembering, inner knowing, the quickening, awakening. Stand up, rise up, show up and speak up, step forward, let go and fly. The universe and God, creator, life has. Yeah, you're back. Life is on your side. So, yeah, just getting those messages like last night. The law of one and common sense, a declaration of independence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, freedom, power, and responsibility, awakened hearts and purified minds. Love and accountability, play, practice. The 4 agreements and codes, contracts, envisioning, getting clear, playing, imagining, projecting, matching. Remembering, focusing, attending, love is who we are. Abundance, prosperity, riches, value, worth, and receptivity, trust, faith, strength, and grace, free will, goodwill, self-love, self-worth, self-governance, self-ownership, self-respect, self-trust, self-responsibility, accountability, self-love. Love is who we are. Durga, Kali, Sekhmet, love is who you are. Love is who we are. Isis, Lakshmi, Sarasvati, Parvati, Durga, Aurora, Ra, Rama, Rama, Rama. Iris, goddess of the rainbow, Cleopatra, Petra, or Ra. Christos, Sophia, Christic force, Christ, Buddha, Krishna, Mary, superconsciousness. The healer, the leader, the innovator, the builder, the weaver, the architect, the magician, fool, and high priestess. The devotee and the beloved child. God and goddess together again, the empress and the emperor, healing union, reunion, communion, heroes gamos of the divine and sacred feminine and masculine, the healed healer, rainbow warrior, innocent midwife, God's wife. Yeah, I am a divine child of the light and a holy parent to thy whole self, thy will be done. Clearing the distortions through the light of the inner sun, healing all I am through becoming, being one, through the separation, differentiation, individuation, unification, transformation, transmutation, transfiguration, remembering, regenerating, co-creating, and cooperating. Love is who we are. We are enough. Love is enough. Life is enough. She is enough. I am enough. Thou art beloved. We are love. All is love. Be your love. I am love. Share your love. Free your love. I am that I am. I know I am. I am love. I am loved. All my love for all I am. All my love for all I love. I am. I know I am. Letting go and celebrating all this love for we, praising, thanking, blessing, remembering, envisioning, embodying, anchoring, centering, honoring this love, letting go and trusting. I am supported. I am loved. Dragon, phoenix, unicorn, griffin, sphinx, mermaid, winged horse, swan, dragonfly, mountain lion, lynx, whale, raccoon, mouse, and butterfly. Duck, dove, eagle, falcon, vulture, turkey, goose, spider, owl, snake, lion, bear, wolf, badger, skunk, grouse, quill, robin, earthworm, cat, dog, parrot, jaguar, black panther, buffalo, great spirit. Sisters and brothers, peoples and kin, families, relations, and allies, beloved teachers, reflections, and companions. Thank you, love, for everything. Thank you for this gift of being. All I am for me and we. All my love for me and we. All our love is free. All our love is free to be. Playing in the field of creativity, magic, and miracles, accessible, available, all around, within, and a part of me. All I am. Connected, reflected through everything. All God's good things. All my blessings, gifts, and opportunities, all these wonders alive and being honored, shared, lived, given, witnessed, embodied, acknowledged, received. So, yeah, renewing my agreements, yeah, sorting through different things, separating the wheat from the chaff, yeah, and letting go and trusting in all of this. Yeah, maybe next time I can share more fully some of these agreements that I have written down here. They're just like summarized, something that I summarized from Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements. So nothing other people do is because of you. Don't take anything personally. Nothing other people do is because of you. It is because of themselves. All people live in their own dream, in their own mind. They are in a completely different world from the one you live in. Taking things personally makes you easy prey for those predators who would try to send you emotional poison. They can hook you easily with one little opinion and feed you all their emotional garbage. When you take it personally, you eat it up and now it becomes your garbage. But if you don't take it personally, you are immune to their poison. You will not eat it. Immunity to emotional poison is the gift of this agreement. You are never responsible for the actions of others. You are only responsible for you. You can say, I love you, without the fear of being rejected. You can ask for what you need without guilt or self-judgment. You can choose to follow your heart and live. Don't take anything personally. As you make a habit of not taking anything personally, you won't need to place your trust in what others say or do. You will only need to trust yourself to make responsible choices. If you are truthful with yourself, you'll save yourself a lot of pain. Yeah, so that's a good agreement to review. And so I am going to choose for myself to practice, these 4 agreements as often as I can. And then the last one is always do your best, and that's about taking action. So the 4th agreement is about the action of the first 3. So the first 3 are be impeccable with your word, don't make assumptions, and don't take anything personally. And 4 is always do your best. So keep in mind that your best is not going to be the same from moment to moment. Your best will be different when you're healthy and refreshed, as opposed to sick and tired, etc. When you overdo, you go against yourself, and it takes longer to accomplish a goal. And if we give less than our best, we subject ourselves to frustration, self-judgment, guilt, and regrets. So do your best and let go of the rest. When you always do your best, you take action. Doing your best is taking the action because you love it, not because you're expecting a reward. Or attached to an outcome, or some kind of payoff. Most people do exactly the opposite. They only take action when they expect a reward, and they don't enjoy the action. So if you take action just for the sake of doing it without expecting a reward, you'll find that you enjoy every action you do. Rewards will come, but you are not attached to the reward. You can even get more than you would have imagined for yourself without expecting a reward. So, I am enough. There is enough. Life is enough. We are enough. So show up and care for your whole, full, true self, and be love for your whole self. For your whole self. Love y'all. Thanks for listening, and thanks for being you. Thanks for being here, and thanks for showing up to care. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.